Welcome everybody to Franklin County Technical School and more importantly the Chamber of Commerce Breakfast. We are excited every year to have you be a part of this, and we are proud to showcase the fine effort and employability skills of our students and our teachers that get there real early in the morning to provide a nice breakfast for everybody. Our maintenance crew is taking care of the floor in the evening, and so we are ready to go. I just want to give a quick backdrop. Franklin County Technical School has 630 students from 19 member towns. We have approximately 40 kids right now that are employed by many of you in co-op positions. We're expecting that number to go up to 80 before the year's out, so we're excited about that. Our population in 2016 was 434, so we are going in the right direction there. As you pull up to the school, you probably noticed that helicopter. That's a new aviation technician program that we are starting, and we hope to have that taken off by the fall of 2024. And that is being right on the edge of our property, about 12,000 square foot hangar. It will be a really good day and adult program for the people of the community. We started a new veterinary science program building that is outside, and the kids will be moving in there sometime in December. That building is 5,000 square feet and loaded with a lot of the modern technology to help our communities and our farms and our local industry in that area. So we are excited about the direction Franklin County Tech is continuing to go. We are not going to rest on our laurels. We're going to continue to provide opportunities for our students to be able to be employed by all of you and be able to give back to the community, give back to the tax base, and be productive citizens. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jeff Smith, Chief Loan Officer and Vice President of the Freedom Credit Union.
Good morning. Freedom Credit Union is happy to sponsor the breakfast chamber this morning. My name is Jeff Smith, and Chief Lending Officer. And Freedom Credit Union, we've got branches in Hampshire County, Franklin County, and Hampden County. We also have an office now in Enfield, Connecticut. To be a member of our credit union, you have to live or work west of Worcester, or also in Upper Connecticut. We were originally the New England Telephone Workers Credit Union, which was formed back in 1922. We changed our name to Freedom Credit Union probably about 15, 20 years ago. And we came to Franklin County when we merged with the Four Rivers Credit Union in Turners. That was a credit union formed in the 1950s by the old Miller Falls Tool Company. And today, I want to introduce a few of the people that we have here from Freedom Credit Union. Mike Johnson is here. He's our financial and investment advisor, and located both at Greenfield and Turner's office. Also have Stacey Finardi here today. She's our mortgage loan originator for Franklin County. She's been doing a ton of home equity lines and loans this year. And we also have a great Freedom 100 product, which is 0% down for purchases. No income restrictions, and it's a below market fixed rate. It's a great product that not a lot of people know about. And lastly but not least is David Chase here today. He's our head of our commercial loan department. We're doing a record number of small business loans this year, and so if you are a small business, David's the person to reach out to. So thank you again. Have a great breakfast, and have a great day.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Donna Getter. I'm now with a company called Markham. Last year, about this time, my 14 partners and I took this big undertaking to bring our firm national. And we are now part of a national firm and can offer all sorts of resources and services that we haven't had in the past, and we also have a continued future for our staff and more opportunities for them. My manager, Jonathan Cohen here, is gonna tell you a little bit about commercial.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jonathan Cohen-Gorsica, a senior manager on the commercial side at Markham in our Greenfield office at the corporate center. Next month will officially be 11 years with the company and 9 years living in Franklin County. I wanted to address a few items today. Melanson merged into Markham January 2023. Markham is a national company with offices all over the United States and even abroad. Our employees in Greenfield were all retained. Our office still exists at the corporate center, and most importantly, we are now available to offer even more services than when we were a regional firm. A few examples. I was able to connect a client in less than 24 hours with a person in Boston who specializes in employee fraud. During a difficult time, I didn't have to take 4 to 5 hours, find out what to do. Instead, I was able to connect them and provide that service right away. Later that week, I was on the phone with someone in San Jose, California, about someone trying to trade one real estate property for another. This allows me to be the main contact for the client while leveraging specialists in other offices. It allows me to still focus on what I do best and I'm most comfortable with. We have come to the realization we cannot be everything for everyone at all times, and the inclusion of a larger business allows us to do so. Due to the timing of the transition, ultimately losing 6 weeks of tax season, we fell behind in our work, but I promise we were doing our darndest to get back out there for chamber events and community events. I look forward to connecting with many of you today and in the near future. I would like to thank the chamber, the tech school as our most gracious host, and the United Way as they kick off another campaign. Thank you all. And just one more note, besides Donna, there's 4 people with us today. All 4 of them were interns during tax season and then were eventually hired. Kelly Irwin, Charles Jake, Nick Proto, and many of you know Jacob Bear as he already worked for a nonprofit prior to coming to us. Thank you guys.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, we're out of practice. Good morning. We are back. Thank you so much for joining us today as we kick off our 23-24 breakfast series. And what better place to kick things off and start the party than right here at the Franklin County Technical School. As we know, tech is famous for spearheading innovative, high-quality programming that strengthens our workforce and our communities. So in that spirit, the tech school is the perfect venue for today's breakfast and a longtime partner of the Chamber. Of course, our appreciation goes to Superintendent Richard Martin. We'll give Richard a round of applause. And the entire Franklin County Tech team for hosting us this morning. We are so grateful. Special thanks, they're not out here right now, but a big thank you to the entire culinary students and staff who got here way too early to prepare breakfast for us. So thank you for that. And I didn't realize this before, but the rest of the school had a delay until 10 a.m. And so that really, I mean, they really earned that applause. They had extra early on. But we promise to make that early alarm worth the effort because today's breakfast is dedicated to celebrating the dedicated. That's right, we are here and lucky to be joined by our friends at the United Way and so many partner agencies. But before I invite Jeff up to start the celebration, I'd like to again thank our sponsors, Markham Accountants and Freedom Credit Union, and welcome a few folks who are attending their very first chamber breakfast. If you could please please wave or stand when I call your name. So welcome to Trouble Madison and Lisa Woodall from Franklin County's YMCA. A big hello to Jillian Morgan with the Food Bank of Western Massachusetts. Welcome to Randy Mullenberg from Mosquito Joe and of Greenfield and Pittsfield. Welcome, Randy. We've got a whole crew here from Community Action Pioneer Valley, so welcome to my friends and former colleagues, Kristen O'Brien, Andy Porter, Anat, Laura LaBounty, and Jessica Thompson. Anat's not here, is she? Liz Sillen is joining us from Greenfield Savings Bank. Welcome, Liz. Amy King-Lane is the new Director of Economic Development for the City of Greenfield and already a valued partner of the Chamber, so welcome, Amy. Welcome to Jillian Appling and Amy Landry from Pioneer Valley Habitat for Humanity. And then my fellow owl, Lori Lambert, is attending her first Chamber breakfast. Lori is the new head of school at my alma mater, Stony Burnham. So welcome, Lori. And then finally, GCC's new internship coordinator, David Brown, is joining us today. Hello, David. David and I met a couple of weeks ago, and if you are short-staffed and in need of a little extra help, like so many of us are, am I right, Marion? Yeah. You should meet David too. GCC is reviving their internship program and looking for businesses and nonprofits to host intern and allow GCCs the opportunity to get on-the-job experience. David is committed to making that process as easy and successful as possible. So if that's something you're interested in, please introduce yourself to David after the breakfast. And David, can you give one more wave so everybody knows who they should meet? Great. Thank you. So as you can see in the program, we have a whole bunch of wonderful speakers today. So in the interest of time, I'm going to skip the standard event announcements and most of the bad jokes, but I do want to take a moment to invite you all to not one, but 2 ribbon cuttings that we're having today. 2. That's a lot. You might even say that we should cut back. Right? I was going to skip most of the bad jokes. So immediately after today's breakfast, we're going to jet over to the Learning Knoll. You all know and love the Learning Knoll as the Greenfield Girls Club. They have a new name, but the same great early education and care. So please join us immediately after this breakfast as we cut the ribbon on that rebrand. And then at 11, we'll be celebrating the grand opening of Mass Hire's new Greenfield location on Munson Street. So lots to celebrate today in Franklin County, and we're going to get it started right now. Next, I'd like to introduce Jeff Nonheim, who is the Executive Director of the United Way and Franklin region.
Good morning. The coffee hasn't quite kicked in yet, so I'm going to apologize. Again, I'm Jeff Nonheim. I'm the Executive Director of United Way of the Franklin and Hampshire region. Very excited to be back at Franklin County Chamber of Commerce's annual United Way celebration at Franklin County Technical School. How long has this event been here? Do we know?
Marion?
30 years? Okay. That's wonderful. Thank you for continuing to have us. So for those who don't know, and I assume most of you do since you're at a United Way themed event, United Way of the Franklin and Hampshire region is the only convening and funding agency specifically attuned to the needs of Franklin County, the North Quabbin region, and Hampshire County. We have early childhood-based programming. That's a diaper bank and a literacy program, and you might know some of the drives we do throughout the course of the year with our Women's Way group. And then we also partner with 64 programs of nonprofit organizations. In dollars, this year that's about $900,000 that's getting distributed to the community in the form of partnerships with nonprofit organizations. So for those with short memories who don't know much about us, in 2021 there were 2 United Ways. There were United Way of Franklin County and one in Hampshire County. We merged in July of that year. And so last year when we did this breakfast, I gave a quick update on our merger. And I think I said something along the lines of, because of the merger, we were able to increase support for Franklin County nonprofits by 30%. That's 30% more dollars going to the Franklin County community than before the merger. I thought that was pretty good at the time, yeah? That's pretty all right? Good bang for your buck? There we go. That's what I'm waiting for. So this year, I'd like to give just another quick update. Our Greenfield-based diaper bank is set to double its distribution this year. So last year, we distributed about 100,000 diapers and pull-ups into the community, specifically to food pantries and early childhood programs. This year, we're going to do about 200,000 diapers and pull-ups, and then like a bajillion wipes. Our literacy program, Read, Learn, Succeed, which has been a Franklin County program for years, is actually going to expand into Hampshire County this year, or actually has expanded into Hampshire County this year. That provides books to young readers. For a lot of them, it's the only new books or books at all that they have at home. And so what about our nonprofit partnerships? So at the start of the pandemic, and I'm gonna talk about the pandemic because we're not over it yet, right? We pivoted, and I really hate that word, but we pivoted to providing unrestricted funding and investing in continuity of services in our community. Because at the time, stuff was a little crazy. And yeah, I see some nods. It was a little crazy. And it was hard to tell what was going on, so we thought providing stability for the region and working with the same nonprofit partners was the most important and sensible thing we could do. But this year we opened up our application process for partnership for the first time since 2019, which means we brought on some new partner agencies and we lost some partner agencies. Because a lot has changed since March of 2020, the needs of the community have changed. And one question we always ask agencies that are planning to partner with us is how many residents of Franklin County you're going to serve and how many residents of Hampshire County you're going to serve. We also ask them to divide that up by town, but let's just stick to the counties for right now. And we use that to kind of make a ratio to figure out how much of our dollars are going to support each community. So is everyone kind of familiar with the population of Franklin County versus the population of Hampshire County? It's about just over 70,000 people in Franklin County. It's about 160,000 people in Hampshire County. So by my calculation, 48% of our support that we're distributing into the community is going to Franklin County. I think that's pretty good. Don't tell the friends down south that, but that's about $400,000. That's a large increase from before the merger. So we have three focus areas at United Way. All of United Ways kind of subscribe to this. It plays out differently in different communities. We have economic security, that's thinking about low-income housing and dealing with homelessness. Health and safety, that's recovery community, dealing with the opioid epidemic. And this year, what we're thinking a lot about is children and youth and their families. Many of you responded to our community survey that went out this summer or took part in our community conversations, where we asked people what are the biggest challenges facing children and youth in our region. And the response was, unfortunately, the poor mental health and wellness of youth, that's high schoolers and middle schoolers in Franklin and Hampshire County. And this wasn't just identified as the #1 problem facing children and youth in our region, this was identified as the #1 challenge facing our region. The hospitals do something called the Community Needs Health Assessment every 3 years, where they say what are the biggest public health challenges facing our region. That was #1, was youth mental health and wellness. There's some pretty frightening survey data from the Franklin Regional Council of Governments and the Communities That Care Coalition about middle schoolers and high schoolers. Middle schoolers and high schoolers, Jen? Is that, okay, yeah. Have intense feelings of despair and hopelessness. And that's increased significantly since before the pandemic. And it got a little bit better this year, but not as good as we'd like it to be. So this year we're thinking a lot about how can we work with our partner agencies to reverse that trend, make life a little bit better for everybody. So on that sunny note, I'm going to pass things over to our newest member of our board of directors at United Way, Jesse Dean.
So while we ended it on not a great note, how exciting was the first part? Huh? That's such great news for Franklin County. So because of the folks in this room and many, many more, not only did we reach last year's $1.4 million campaign goal, but we exceeded it. Over the past year, Jen and I have stood before you and asked our friends and neighbors and coworkers and strangers and really anyone who would listen to us to donate to the United Way, and you did. You answered the call in a big way, and we couldn't be more excited about the impact that last year's $1.4 million will have on our community. And we are looking forward to raising the stakes and raising $1.5 million to amplify that impact this year. So especially right here in Franklin County, I know we are all so thrilled to hear that the merger between the United Way of Franklin County and the merger between the United Way of Hampshire County actually resulted in increased funding for Franklin County nonprofits. That's big news because, as we know, it makes a big difference. And how do I know that? Well, as you heard, and as some of you know, for more than a decade, I had the honor of working for a United Way partner agency. While at Community Action, my job was to shine a light on the many, many miracles that Community Action and United Way partner agencies make possible on a daily basis. In that role, I saw the difference that United Way funding makes for local nonprofits who are so underfunded and overworked. It's been my experience that a lot of the time that the nonprofits who are doing the most life-changing, life-saving work are often not the nonprofits with the flashiest or jazziest marketing campaigns or the best fundraising strategies. The nonprofits that need our help the most are the ones who have their heads down, their boots on the ground, they're doing the work. And that's where the United Way comes in. The United Way takes our donations and puts them where the needs are locally. For partner agencies, United Way grants are responsive to community needs and they fill in critical gaps where state and federal funding can often fall short. But it's still important, Natalie, very, very important. Yeah, so for example, who here is familiar with SNAP benefits? Yeah, all the nonprofit folks just strap their hands right up. So if you do not know, SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. But even if you've heard of SNAP, oftentimes folks are shocked to learn that SNAP does not cover the cost of diapers, so you cannot use SNAP to buy diapers. And as Jeff was saying, that's why the United Way hosts an annual diaper drive and serves as a diaper bank for Franklin and Hampshire counties. That is just one example of how the United Way leverages its reach with partner agencies to make real change locally, pun intended. And speaking of partner agencies, we got it. They're gonna keep coming. I'm just gonna make more of them if you don't laugh. So speaking of United Way partner agencies, if you are here representing a United Way partner agency or a chamber member nonprofit, could you please raise your hand? It was just everybody who put their hands up about SNAP, pretty much. Great. And now, could everyone else raise both hands and give those folks a round of applause? If you saw someone raise their hands, please say thank you to these folks. It's estimated that roughly 13% of Franklin's entire workforce works at a nonprofit. These folks have tough jobs, as we know, and they are working so hard to help us build a better community for everyone. Because when everyone's basic needs are met, we all do better. And a really great way to thank them is by holding a United Way workplace campaign. So now I'd like to introduce someone else who's working really hard to make our communities better, and that is my friend and co-chair for the second consecutive year, Jennifer Ewers.
Good morning. So as Jesse explained, like many of you, there's so many friendly, familiar faces in the room. I've been involved in the United Way for several years. I started in 2004 working as a donor, as a workplace campaign donor at a Pacesetter partner agency. I later became their workplace campaign coordinator, and here we are, nearly 20 years later. I'm still working as a workplace campaign coordinator, and as Jesse explained, I'm very proud to take on my second year as a campaign co-chair for this meaningful organization. So as an individual, the United Way has really taught me many, many lessons. The most meaningful experience that I went through with the United Way was when I served on the Community Grants Committee. This gave me the opportunity to go inside those amazing partner agencies that Jesse mentioned, and I saw firsthand the work that was being done. This experience made me acutely aware of the need for those programs, and it really made me, as an individual, make the choice that I want to support the United Way so that they can continue to shine the light and share critical funding with these important work and programs. Most recently, over the summer, my son and I have campaigned to get the budget, the Massachusetts state budget, to include the free lunch program. You know, because what greater way to support a teacher than to make sure all of the bellies are fed in the classroom? Well, my son's in high school. I wasn't thinking about the diaper banks. So that's where the United Way comes in. You know, they put the call to action. They told us that the community-wide diaper banks were low. And how easy is it? You know, as a mom, we saved our coupons from the Sunday paper, and at the end of August, my son and I, with his cell phone and the calculator on it, we bought as many diapers as we could, and we brought them to the United Way. I mean, that's how we get it done. So it's great that our businesses are all here. It's wonderful to support the chamber, but as an individual, the United Way is just able to make that call to action. I also worked over the summer with the Northampton Rotary, and we did a backpack program drive. The United Way and Jenny Cord, through the literacy program, reached out to me to remind me of the importance of literacy and reading. And together, Jenny and I and the Northampton Rotary Club last summer distributed 550 backpacks with books throughout the community. And this summer, we upped it. We upped the game, and we donated 600 backpacks community-wide. So again, the United Way is out there, they're listening, and they're teaming up with folks, both with your business and as individuals to help. So thank you for joining us this morning as we celebrate one another, as we celebrate our 2024 United Way campaign. This opportunity provides critical funding for 64 programs with our partner agencies throughout Hampshire and Camden counties. One such magical program is Community Action Pioneer Valley, and I'm very pleased to introduce my friend, my old chamber buddy, Jess Thompson, the Associate Director for Community Engagement.
Can you guys hear me? All right. I'm nervous. I really want to do a good job with this, so bear with me. I joined the team at Community Action just 2 months ago. However, I'm a Pioneer Valley girl. I grew up in Shelburne, I went to Mohawk, then I went to Smith. I raised my family in Ashfield, and I spent a decade working at the Greater Northampton Chamber of Commerce. So many of your faces are so familiar to me. You are my community. I joined the staff at Community Action Pioneer Valley in July. It feels mostly like I've been drinking from a fire hose for the past 2 months, but I have figured out a thing or two, and I hope you'll indulge me in sharing some of what I've learned with you. At Community Action, our goals are to keep our neighbors living with low incomes, fed, warm, working, and connected. You know, the basics. Last year, we served 25,000 people through 32 programs in 36 locations. Wow. I thought with statistics like this, our staff should be standing on the roof, declaring victory and singing with pride. If you really know me, however, you know I'm a musical theater kid, and I was really just ready to choreograph a production number. Shout out to Shaduk. However, poverty doesn't relent, and our work is not done. In fact, the most recent census numbers demonstrate that the child poverty rate has more than doubled from what it was in 2021. There is still so much need. My coworkers know that we have to keep going because the need exceeds the resources every day. And the most challenging needs are those that don't fit neatly into boxes. Community Action receives funding from the state and federal government for many of our programs. It's how we do what we do, a lot of what we do. We're grateful for these funds and the relief that they allow us to offer to our neighbors. What I've come to understand is that these funds come with specific requirements and with specific limitations. If a client's life circumstance aligns with these requirements and they fall within the box, we can say yes. Yes, we can help you to heat your home. Yes, we can provide your family with food when you're not sure if you have enough to make it through the week. Yes, we can help you access affordable, quality childcare so that you can work. Yes, we can help you take charge of your finances with one-on-one financial counseling or by doing your taxes for free. But if a family's variables are outside of that box, even if it's just by a smidge, our funders' policies do not give us the flexibility to say yes. Without support from our donors and from organizations like the United Way of Franklin and Hampshire County, we have to look into the eyes of our neighbors and say no. I'd like to tell you a little story. 2 weeks ago, I spent some time volunteering at the Center for Self-Reliance, which is our food pantry right on Main Street in Greenfield. The CSR is the largest choice food pantry in the area. That means we're not giving you a bag of groceries. You actually get to go through and have a shopping experience so you can pick out what works best for your family. I arrived early. We spent the first few hours working really hard because our director there, Cheo, runs a really tight ship. And we were stocking shelves and sorting produce so that when our guests arrived, they could have a meaningful shopping experience. The door opened right at 11 a.m. sharp. I looked up. My friends, there was a line. There was a line right out the door. It was our neighbors waiting to feed themselves and their families. I found myself surprised. I'm not exactly sure what I thought the face of poverty in Franklin County was. And if I'm honest with myself, I never would have admitted to myself that I had a preconceived notion. But, friends, I was surprised. The people in the line out the door were of every demographic. There were people who go to work every day. There were even educators from our local school system. There were senior citizens who had worked every day of their lives and never thought they would need this kind of support in retirement. There were hardworking families brand new to this country, families who came searching for a better way of life. There were children. There were so many beautiful children. The commonalities shared by this group of people are simple. They are food insecure. They are our neighbors. United Way funding supports the Center for Self-Reliance and many other community action programs. They help us to be generous with our care. The United Way gives us a chance to say yes, even to the person whose need doesn't fit neatly within that box. Yes, we can help you provide nutritious food to your child. Yes, we can help you age in place by improving your home's infrastructure. Yes, we can help you access the help you need when your family is experiencing a financial crisis. Saying yes isn't just about our neighbors, though. It's also about our staff. Like many of you, Community Action is an employer. We're so proud of our close to 300 team members who work tirelessly for our community every day. The opportunity to say yes is critical to our team's morale and our organization's ability to keep talented staff in place and keep improving community outcomes. The United Way's campaign is a critical moment for the community to support its most vulnerable members. Today, I invite you to say yes. Your efforts will make a difference, and there are so many ways to help. Please participate in the United Way's campaign this fall. Give as generously as you can. Start a United Way campaign in your office. There's a couple of people right here who would be so happy to help you do that. Tell your friends, share messages in person, and blow up social media. Say yes. You can make a difference. We will all be the better for it. As a wise woman named Jessie Dean told me recently, we all do better when we all do better. Thank you for your attention and for all you do and all you will do to make our community a place where all our neighbors have the opportunity to live with dignity and to thrive. So I met the next person on our schedule of speakers many years ago, and I think she is a kindred spirit of mine because there's no one in the world that likes working for not-for-profits and raising funds to support great work in the whole world that I've ever met, like Holly Martineau. So Holly, over to you.
Thanks, Jess. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. As Jess said, my name is Holly Martineau, and I'm the Director of Development at the United Way of the Franklin and Hampshire region. I'm so fortunate that I get to raise money where I grew up. I'm one of those people who's never left the Pioneer Valley. And I love it here. I get to talk to people that I care about every day and ask them to support amazing organizations. So along that note, one of the things that Jess said was about me asking for money. People ask me all the time, how do you do your job? Isn't it hard? You get to ask for money. People say no to you all day long. And one of my answers is, they don't always say no first. That's true. I would really not be able to do this if that was the case. But I get to say thank you thousands of times every year. That's the best part of my job. I will admit, I have a money dance, which people in our office have seen. When the mail comes in and there's a stack of mail, and I say, we're going to get to our goal, we're going to get to our goal, and how amazing that is for me. But then I get to call those people, or I get to write a note, or sign a letter, just to say thank you so, so much for that. So I thought I would share a very brief campaign update. You've heard a little bit, but now from the fundraiser perspective, our 2023 campaign was 1.4 million. We exceeded 1.4 million. Yes, there was some dancing going on in our office. And I get to say that. I get to tell all of you that all of the hard work and all of the asking paid off, and that we're able to get this money into our community, which is just so important. So of the nearly 80 workplaces that ran campaigns last year, they were really the backbone of our fundraising effort. So Greg Malinowski, who many of you know, Greg is, will you stand up just for a second? Thank you so much. Greg has been, we have known each other, dare I say, over 3 decades in the fundraising industry. It's a pretty tight-knit community. It's a community of people who believe in what we're doing. And Greg has come out of retirement to work at United Way and help us with workplace campaigns. So we are thrilled. We know we will exceed 80 workplaces again this year. I have confidence. I drive everybody crazy because I am always an optimist. Even on the gloomiest, worst day, worst moment, I will always dig deep and find something. Even if it's me telling you that I like your shoes, I would dig deep. So, and we are also so grateful to the over 2,400 people who gave to the United Way campaign last year. 2,400 people gave. We are so grateful. And I got to say thank you over 2,400 times, at least. So that was fabulous. So July 1st marked the beginning of our 2024 campaign. The rest of you are in 2023. We have moved on. We are way ahead of that. And so I get to say thank you again to all of you for not only being here today, but thank you so much for participating in last year's campaign, making my job so much easier. I get to say that I had a whole team of people behind me, and I might not know your name yet, but you were there and you helped, and so we're so grateful. I would like to recognize our pace setters for this year's campaign, and our pace setters are the organizations that get their campaigns off and running before the end of September. For us, that sets the tone for where the campaign is going. So I would like to thank the North Province Citizen Advocacy Program. They ran their campaign. They have 100% participation. So please, Nate, their executive director, is not here, but please, in spirit, thank them. 100% participation. And CNS Wholesale Grocers. They do a fabulous campaign at all of their locations, and then they match their employees' giving. It's phenomenal. And their support is so necessary, and it really makes us feel so energized to be able to move forward. And our other pace setters who are currently running their campaigns are Applied Mortgage, Think and Paris Insurance, led by Jennifer Ewers. Jennifer is leading that campaign. Florence Bank and Bank ESB have already kicked off, and we have 17 workplace campaigns already committed, and that will be kicking off in the next few weeks. So in fundraising, there's an adage that you thank people 7 times before you ask them again. And I always try to remember that, because if I strive for 7, I will at least get to 5. So thank you, and thank you. And now I'm gonna ask you again to please support our United Way campaign this year. Host a workplace campaign. Greg has a bag of folders. If you want more information about how to do it, take one of our cards with you. We will be happy to sit down with you. Our goal is to make it as easy as possible. I hope that both Jesse and Jen can attest to that as our campaign co-chairs, that we just want it to be smooth for you. We want giving to feel good. Some people will say give till it hurts, and I always say give until it feels good. Philanthropy should feel like it's coming from your heart, not so much from your wallet. We want it to feel like it's a pleasure, that you're happy that you had a chance to do that. So I do hope that all of you will support our campaign this year. Again, selfishly, make my job easier. I will do much more dancing. And again, thank you so much for all you do. I get to talk more. You never give a fundraiser a microphone, FYI. So I get to introduce Sean Palmer. Sean Palmer is the publisher of the Greenfield Recorder and the Daily Hampshire Gazette, and he is also a member of the United Way Board, and they run a workplace campaign. I could keep going and going, but I think that Sean has some amazing things to say. So again, thank you, and Sean, thank you for speaking today.
Thank you, Holly, and thank you, everybody. Looking at the program, I'm getting a weird reverb. Is this okay? Okay, thanks. Looking at the program, I see I'm the last person between you and door prizes, so I appreciate this lineup. Thank you. I will be brief, so no worries. In 1921, the Daily Hampshire Gazette published a letter to the editor asking, a community chest, why not? Look at what Springfield has done successfully in the past 3 years. And with those 3 sentences and a little bit of work, the next year, the community chest, the precursor to today's United Way of the Franklin and Hampshire region, was born. So with critical early backing from Harriet DeRose, who was a former publisher of the Gazette and one of the first women publishers of a newspaper in America, our United Way has grown and provided vital support to generations of Western Massachusetts families. And then, 20 years after its humble beginnings in Northampton, the United Way of Franklin County was born. And the Greenfield Recorder was right there to encourage and support its growth as well. So let me tell you, as the current publisher of the Recorder and the Gazette, the 2 oldest newspapers in our state, I am walking on the shoulders of giants who preceded me. People who understood that owning and running a business isn't just about making a profit for us. It's about making our community a little bit better for all of us. I feel the presence of those giants every day, and that is why we continue to be proud supporters of United Way at both of our papers. One of the United Way programs that really hits home for me is Read, Learn to Succeed. You heard Jeff talk about this a little bit earlier. So since 2012, toddlers through first graders in 10 schools here in Franklin County have received over 24,000 books, and no charge to the schools or the families. I am pleased that a grant from the Newspapers of New England Foundation, which is our parent company, to the United Way, has launched this program in next week, I believe, October 1, right, Holly? To the schools in Hampshire County as well. So thank you. I believe there are already 12 to 15 schools committed, something like that. So Franklin County, good work is going down to Hampshire County. Thank you, Jeff, Holly, and Jenny for your partnership in making this happen. We are very proud to support it. You've heard a lot about workplace campaigns today. Yes, we have them at each of our papers. With a history like ours, you have them too. But not all of our companies and campaigns date back to the beginning of United Way, and that's okay. But we're all here today, and there is no time like the present to begin writing your company's own United Way story, and to begin leaving your legacy of support to our neighbors who need a hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. And if you are interested in learning more about the Read, Learn, Succeed program, Jenny is not here today, but you can also reach out to Greg or Holly about that. I am entering year 6 as a Read, Learn, Succeed volunteer. I read monthly at Community Action's G Street site right here in Turner's. And I would love to tell you that it is my character voices and my reading skills that the children go wild for when I arrive, but it is actually the books that they get to take home and then read later with their grown-ups. So thank you very much for sponsoring that program. So we've talked a lot about campaign, we've talked a lot about workplace campaigns. Are we all feeling inspired to host a workplace campaign? Don't everybody shout at once. Control yourselves. Great. So if you would like to speak with Holly or Greg after the breakfast, please do so. They have the forms, take those back. Holly's right, they make it as easy and successful as possible. Marion and I are 100% committed to having 100% participation in our workforce campaign. Just take the statistics as it is, don't look too deep into the background numbers on that. But it is a really wonderful way to help support our community as a whole. So before we jump into raffle prizes, I do want to take a moment of silence to remember Stephen Smith, who was a longtime board member and former chamber board president who died this week. So if we could take. Thank you. And then one last thank you to our sponsors, Markham and Freedom Credit Union. And again, thank you to this tech school for hosting. Superintendent Martin, would you like to come up and do the honors and hold the raffle bucket?